utopia, take away the economy from those who rigged it. As I see it, class warfare, the only resort to right-wing doom. It's worth it. How to talk to your right-wing relatives, friends, and neighbors, and other books written by Egberto Willis. Welcome to Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto Willis, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. Good morning to the United States of America. Good morning to the entire world receiving our signals via the magic of el Internet, formerly known as the ARPANET, created by whom again? Let's all say it together. We the people. We the people. Anyway, folks, we are going to have a great show for you today. I hope you're enjoying this holiday season, irrespective of what religion you are or lack thereof. But you know what, folks? Let's just be festive. Enjoy the time. Anyway, without further ado, let's send it off to the geniuses in the studio. We have El Señor Howard Reynolds and Jacques Van Bebba.
We the people, we the people, we the people. Jack?
Hey.
We the people,
yes.
We the people.
Yes, but I should
love
get
that.
first billing, I think.
He should get first billing.
Okay. Hold up.
All right.
And
All right.
thrown into the studio, we have El Señor Jacques Van Bebba and Howard Reynolds.
Right. Now that's more like it.
Yeah.
All right.
Good morning, Egberto. It is Monday morning at the radio, the 22nd of December, 2025. We have made it through the year almost, and the holiday season is upon us, and I hate it. I'm the biggest Grinch there is. My daughter and I are Grinches together.
Your daughter is a Grinch? Don't
Yes.
your daughter have like 3 kids?
4.
4. Okay, now I know why she's a Grinch.
Exactly. Yeah, 19, 17, 16, and 11.
My
So
God.
no, 2 of them are almost grown for good. Well, legal age anyway. They're not grown.
They're never
But,
grown.
No, they're never grown.
And the younger ones, you just can't please them, right?
Well, no, actually, she's the most easiest pleased. The youngest one, she's like, oh, whatever, okay. It's the third one that's really emotional and, well, you know.
Hey, don't be
They're all
talking
girl.
about your granddaughter on the radio. She's going to hear you and she's going to say, Grandpa.
Grandpa, you're my favorite grandpa.
You were my favorite grandpa.
Yeah, you were my favorite. Now Grandpa John is like, okay. Alrighty then. Jack, what you got, man? Looks like you're going to read off something.
I'm going to read Egberto's introduction for today's show. Across healthcare, foreign policy, and media narratives, power protects itself by lowering expectations and redefining failure as success. Trump's so-called prescription drug deals offer political theater while patients continue to ration medicine. Media institutions amplify distractions instead of accountability, allowing plutocratic politicians to harm both domestic and global communities. Against that backdrop, an unsolicited affirmation from Congressman Al Green serves as a reminder that truth-telling rooted in solutions and action still matters and still resonates.
Yeah, I just love the description of the drug prices. It's going to be 1,000% off. You can't go beyond 100 until they're paying you.
Right.
Now, once again, there's that 4th grade math.
He's a great salesman, isn't he? He can really
Wow.
sell it to
You know,
the people, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's
Don't buy
amazing.
it.
If you have a
It is
brain.
amazing. Look, you wonder about this guy and you wonder how many times people going to keep drinking the Kool-Aid. But you know what? They do. And that's why we're
I
here
know.
to help them put some cyanide in the Kool-Aid.
I fight with them on Facebook all the time.
Yeah.
I got a little message for the people here this morning.
Oh, okay.
Let me hear what's their message for the people.
Okay. Partisan politics divides the people, and that's what it's designed to do. It's called divide and conquer. Keep the conservative and the liberals at odds with each other while the corporate elites rob the nation of its wealth. Make no mistake about it, corporate power dominating the people, left and right, need to get together and decide, will America revive its democracy of, by, and for the people, or slide into corporate authoritarianism, fascist regime that exploits its citizens for every penny they can extract out of the people's pocketbooks and purses. When MAGA and progressive unite in solidarity against corporate power, America will restore its democracy and national self-esteem.
Okay,
That
I
is
can go
so
for that.
true. Yes, I go for that too. I go for that too. Anyway, folks, we are going to have a great show for you. Welcome aboard, all those that are here so far. We have Pam. I remember I don't get the first few dozen, but we've got Pam Fantino, Do You Lie, Lynette, Iolet, Elaine Ambrose, Marnie, LBW. Welcome aboard, Laura, and more, Steve, Rosenwig, etc. I don't think Do You Lie is very happy with the subject, Samari. He says, "Oh Lord, more gibberish on healthcare, yet ignore the Epstein files." Hmm. More gibberish on healthcare and I'm ignoring the Epstein file. Well, unfortunately, Do You Lie? You're right. Let me see. No matter what happens in the Epstein files, whether we find more guys and all of that, which, there are other people covering the Epstein file to find people. Please tell me, my dear brother, I think you're a guy. Please tell me, how is that going to, talking about that particular issue, when on January 1st, millions are going to be losing their insurance. On January 1st, millions are going to be paying more for insurance affecting their personal economy. You see, the Epstein file, like I said before, it's a bad thing. And there are others that like covering things like that. And I want them to do it. And I leave it to others to do it. But I make let's say a few headlines about it. And then, it isn't something that's going to affect most people. And no, my friend, this show is not just for senior citizens. I cover Medicare not because I only care about senior citizens. We have folks listening from 20 years old, and I do have the demographics of the program. It's from 20 years old right up into their 90s. And it's very evenly split among demographics, my brother. So no, this show is for everybody, and Medicare affects even those that are young. Why? Because if somebody's parents are hosed by Medicare Advantage, a lot of that burden falls on the millennials and the Gen X's and the Gen Z's that are responsible to then pick up the slack that the insurance they paid for is now not mitigating. So you see, there is some logic to not putting a lot of emphasis in what a lot of old men want to do with a whole bunch of young girls that many people who voted for Donald Trump already knew about. No, everybody that's listening to this program knows that Donald Trump is a sexual pervert. Everybody knows that. I don't know who else needs to know that. But a lot of folks don't understand that Medicare Advantage is a fraud. A lot of folks don't understand that that Medicare Advantage ain't Medicare. It's just private insurance labeled as Medicare to screw you. A lot of folks didn't know that. And for the amount of emails that I get for people say, "Oh, I didn't know that. Now I'm going to make the right choice." That's why, brother. That's why. That's why. All right. Let's see what else we've got. We've got Parabet. As Stadium says, we must consider the group, not simply the big guy. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. All right, folks. I want to start with. Um, I'm going to get into drug pricing, etc. That Donald Trump is claiming he's working on. But I want to get into Venezuela because this is more dangerous and hideous than anybody else. When politicians function as wards of a plutocracy, which that is exactly what these guys are doing. Um, they routinely escape accountability for policies that devastate their own constituents while inflicting brutal harm abroad. Just just think about that. They succeed not because their arguments withstand scrutiny, but because the mainstream media too often asks the wrong questions, or worse, allows outright falsehoods to pass unchallenged. And what I want to do is there's a piece. This is only about 46 seconds long, I believe. It's about 46 seconds long. There, Senator James Lankford was on Meet the Press yesterday afternoon or yesterday morning, and I can't tell you. I tried to pull the hair out of my head that I don't have. I was so upset with the interview. Let me just play a little 46-second clip about it, and then we'll go and talk about it a little further. Check this out.
We want the people of Venezuela to be able to have the power to be able to choose their own leaders and for them to be able to control their own destiny on it. But I do know oil has been sanctioned. In fact, the ship that was last seized, and not the one that was done yesterday, the one before that, President Biden had even put sanctions on that. They were flying under a false flag. They were using fake GPS. They're a sanctioned entity on that. But President Biden didn't take any action on that. President Trump did take action on that. We've got to stop the flow of cocaine coming out of Venezuela and out of Colombia. We've got to be able to stop that because it's directly coming to the United States. And we've got to allow the people of Venezuela to be able to choose their leader there. Venezuela is destabilizing the entire Western Hemisphere. We should not allow that to happen.
Now, what I did is when I took that clip, I threw it up on Substack with a few comments, and I said Senator James Lankford appeared on CNN's State of the Union, and his interview included questions about Trump's attack on Venezuela, drugs, and regime change. I wrote the following in the clip. Politicians who are wards of our plutocracy get away with harming their constituents to support savage policies against the third world, to enrich the few because the mainstream media asks the wrong questions or allow those politicians to lie and mislead. Senator James Lankford is unchallenged when he claims America wants Venezuelans to choose their leaders. We have a war fleet off their coast, admittedly have CIA agents destabilizing on the inside of Venezuela. We shut down their airspace and we are stealing their oil from tankers we pirate on international waters. No questions about that. They don't ask them, the people on TV, and I watched him on several networks. Nobody asked about the legality. Nobody asked about the CIA and what they're actually doing, and should that be something this country should be doing on their own. None of that is asked. We were responsible for the overthrow of democratically elected Hugo Chavez. The people revolted and reinstated him. No questions asked when they talk about how Venezuela is in the hands of tyrants. Of course, Maduro is no good guy at all, right? But you know what? There are a lot of no good guys elected across the world that we don't mess with. And in fact, we have our own tyrant in office. And suppose other people came and told America, you have elected a tyrant, put some warships outside of America and say, nah, we can't work with a tyrant in Trump that is destabilizing not the hemisphere, but the entire world. Suppose a group of countries decided to do that to us. Americans crave drugs, cocaine, and fentanyl. The question is, why not find out why Americans are trying to cover their pain with drugs instead of killing Venezuelans to fulfill a U.S. want? It is a humane and moral solution and avoid senseless killing by our military. Venezuela is not destabilizing. Lankford said, the Venezuela is destabilizing the entire Western Hemisphere. No questions about Senator Lankford. Please explain to us, how is Venezuela destabilizing the Western Hemisphere? Please explain to us, what do you mean when you say Venezuela is destabilizing the entire hemisphere, trying to find a justification for the United States to involve itself militarily with that country? How is that one little country with the largest reservoir of oil in the world? How is it destabilizing again? It is crazy that these questions aren't asked. And these are the journalists that got these guys on TV, but they won't ask the questions. And instead, we are simply supposed to accept that out of the blue, Venezuela is starting to be this disruptor of the Western world and needing the big daddy to come in and solve problems. That dynamic was on full display when James Lankford appeared on State of the Union and claimed that the United States merely wants the Venezuelan people to choose their leaders. It's a statement that collapses under even the lightest examination. Yet, no such examinations occur. The United States currently maintain a naval presence off Venezuela's coast. Washington has openly acknowledged covert destabilization efforts inside the country, imposed crippling sanctions. And you wonder why people are coming to the United States again? Why are they leaving Venezuela, going through Colombia, going through the Darien jungle in Panama, which is a very difficult, dense jungle, to eventually migrate to the United States, the country that's inflicting them pain? You wonder why? Again, it has nothing to do with Venezuela. It has to do with what we are doing to Venezuela. These actions do not resemble respect for sovereignty or democratic self determination. They resemble economic warfare. None of this context made it into the interview. No follow up questions challenge a contradiction between stated intentions and observed actions. Langford further suggested that Venezuela is destabilizing the Western Hemisphere, right? That assertion reverse cause and effect. The destabilization began long before Venezuela's integration or economic collapse, specifically with decades of U.S. intervention across Latin America, from coups to sanctions to proxy conflicts. Episode alone refutes the claim. Think about that. Regardless of electoral, history matters here. When the U.S. supported the overthrow of democratically elected President Hugo Chavez, it was not Venezuelan institutions that restored him to office. It was the people themselves. The people themselves. That episode alone refutes the claim that Washington acts as a neutral champion of democracy. Yet this history went unmentioned, silenced against third power. It was funny because as I was writing this, right, I go through my TikTok and my Instagram, and let me tell you something, guys. If you go ahead and you start researching, doing the right kind of searches on Instagram, TikTok, etc., there are a lot of professors and other guys that are in the know, that use TikTok and Instagram as their individual platform of putting information out. And what was interesting is there's this young lady, and I think she's a Panamanian. I think she's from Panama. She was re-examining the invasion of Panama, and that that invasion was a collusion between the American plutocracy. I mean, between the United States government run by the American plutocracy and the Panamanian plutocracy, which is a very small group. You know, the vice president of Panama then was a guy named Ford, and I don't. And Dada was the president. It said where it was installed as a president as soon as the United States invaded. They decided who was going to be president of Panama after they invaded. But one of the things that they pointed out is if you take a look at all the murders that occurred during that invasion, and I don't call it a war, I call it murders. Remember, I talked about the 10,000 Panamanians that died. If you take a look at all the neighborhoods that were just decimated, I mean leveled with the mass graves, etc. It was the poorer neighborhoods. It was the neighborhoods of most color, if you will. You know, I mean, this lady came on and she played a clip from the Panama invasion, the Panama invasion documentary. And one of the ladies that they had living in a hangar after they blew up her home and killed her kids, etc. She came on and she said, "How comes they were so precise in destroying Chorrillo, which is where his headquarters were, but where also a lot of people of color are in the country, meaning indigenous, black, and otherwise, as well as Colon, where I am from, which is also black, mestizo, indigenous, right? Blew it to smithereens, right? But 50th Street and above, Calle 50, nothing. All these places of enterprise were untouched. Were untouched. So what we see here is it's not only that the plutocracies work together, it's also the people that they consider have human values or not, or the people they consider less than human. And you wonder why some people do what they do with some folks in the US government. The drug argument raised in the interview is equally disingenuous. Americans consume cocaine and fentanyl in staggering quantities, more so than countries around the world. That demand does not originate in Venezuela. It originates in communities hollowed out by inequality, despair, untreated trauma, and for profit healthcare system that treats pain as a market opportunity rather than a public health crisis. We don't use healthcare to cure, we use healthcare to make money. Of course, a cure is for the rich, right? So it is so disingenuous. It is so disingenuous. Militarizing foreign policies to address domestic addiction is neither effective nor moral. It externalizes blame while avoiding responsibility. A humane response would ask, why are so many Americans seeking to escape through drugs in the first place? Escape through alcohol, escape through all uh, these other things, right? And would invest. If we really cared about Americans, we wouldn't be sending the military to Venezuela to blow up Venezuela and its people because some of them have decided to some of them decided to be capitalists, right? And how did they become capitalists? Hey, there was a need in the United States for drugs, and we're going to fulfill that need. They're just capitalists. So this particular group of capitalists we are going to blow up. Militarizing foreign policies to address domestic addiction is neither effective nor moral. Again, it's neither effective or moral. But instead, Washington reaches reflexive for sanctions, blockades, and treats the regime change policies that reliably produce civilian suffering while enriching defense contractors and energy speculators. I mean, that's what we're talking about. Venezuela is not destabilizing the Western Hemisphere. The only country right now destabilizing the hemisphere is our own country, the United States of America. It is our country with a fleet of military vessels and armies all over the area, the Caribbean Sea. It is not the rest of the countries militarized in that region, that beautiful region of the world. It is us. It is us that have aircraft carriers. It is us that are blowing up boats out of the ocean. It is us that are doing these things. And you know, the only way to stop that The only way to stop that is for us to engage with our politicians and vote them, the ones that have this frailed mindset, vote them out. Because again, that is existential for us. You see, when we travel as independent American citizens, we carry an American passport, but there's another thing that we carry, and that's a target on our backs. Because while people can't blow or hit that aircraft carrier, they can hit us all over the world as independent American citizens. We pay for the sins of the evil plutocracy in America who governs our government. We pay for that with our lives. And if you doubt that, ask folks when you go overseas how much of a target many a times you are. When journalists fail to interrogate false premises, the public remains uninformed. When lies go unanswered, they calcify into conventional wisdom. Democracy cannot survive on scripted interviews and unchallenged talking points. It requires journalism that confronts power, not accommodate it, and a public willing to demand more than slogans dressed up as policy. We have to do better. I tell you something that happened on Friday. I interviewed Congressman Al Green, and I'm going to play that probably on Christmas Eve. It was a long interview, an extensive interview, and he had a lot to say. In fact, I learned a few things on that interview because I didn't quite know that when they redistricted, that most of the people in his district, they just moved the line towards 8, and I didn't quite realize that. And I was given, I gave Congressman Al a little bit of time saying, well, let the younger folks take over. And I want you guys to listen to how he addressed all of that, both that most of his constituency is now in 18 as opposed to 9. Look out for that interview on Christmas Eve. It's going to be a good one. But at the end, after I thanked him, etc., he gave me a kudo that warmed my heart, and I just want to share that with you guys because, sometimes you don't know when these politicians are listening to you, etc. And he's one that listens to PDR, and this is what he had to tell me. Congressman, you're on fire as usual. That was great. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Well, thank you for your boldness and your having the courage to do what you do. That let me share this with you, dear brother. There are many intellectuals in this country. There were other intellectuals when Dr. King was on the scene. But the thing that separated Dr. King from the others was courage. Intelligence without courage can be intelligence wasted. You got to have the courage to speak truth about power. Everybody says, oh, speak truth to power. No, it's about power. You got to have the courage to look power in the eye and say, look, you're a problem.
Man, when he said that, I'm like, oh, yeah. There are so many people that are simply trying to appease, right? They won't say certain things because certain people would be upset. The truth is the truth is the truth is the truth. And my God, that's what it's all about. Anyway, let's go ahead and bring Tag into the discussion. Brother Tag, talk to me.
Good morning, Egberto. How are you?
I'm doing fine, my friend. Talk to me.
About Maduro.
Yes.
And Venezuela.
Yes.
I think we can assume, or that we know, that Maduro is an ally of Putin's, right?
Well, that's what I'd like you to believe. Yeah.
You mean he is? You don't think he is?
Let me just say it this way, okay? I think the way Central America works is Central America will be allies with anybody who actually works with them. As an example, I don't think it is fair to say, well, Maduro is a friend of Cuba, Maduro is a friend of Putin. And my answer to that is, so what? Donald Trump is a good friend of Putin. Donald Trump is a good friend of the leader of North Korea, of China. I think they close our thinking into saying, well, we want to go into Venezuela because he's rubbing shoulders with Putin. Countries rub shoulders with the people that allowed them to survive. Cuba came to the United States before they went to Russia. The United States said, no, we don't want, unless you become a true capitalist country after the invasion, we want nothing to do with you. So Cuba went to the next best person that would aid them. But continue. Let me hear what your story is.
Well, when I started looking into the when we grabbed the first tanker, the
Yes.
skipper,
Yes.
I started doing some Google searches on that, reading some articles, and what I found out was the skipper was one of 1,000 of the Russian shadow fleet carrying tankers carrying oil around the world. And I came to realize that Maduro he's got the largest oil reserve in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And Putin's in control of that oil reserve right now. So, he's the shadow fleet is carrying oil away from Venezuela. It's going to Cuba. It's going to India. It's going to wherever that Putin decides he wants to ship the oil to. And when we go down there and we grab one of their tankers and we grab another tanker and we start trying to put shut off the supply of oil out of Venezuela, we're sending a direct message to Putin that we don't like what he's doing and he's got to stop it, or we're going to stop his economic juggernaut, which is Venezuela and Iran. Iran's the same thing. A lot of oil coming out of there, and Putin gets a percentage of all that oil. And so I don't think that America is really, the problem with this whole cocaine thing out of Venezuela. We all know that's a farce. What we're looking at is the controlling the oil, not the cocaine. We're controlling the oil that comes out of Venezuela to put a crimp in the supply of Putin's money. And
Let me ask you.
Go ahead.
Let me ask you this, Tag, because I hear where you're coming from, right? Do you think, let's say, France has an issue with Chad in Africa, and America is one of Chad's main supplier of oil, but Chad and France does not get along. Does America does France have the right to tell America that it cannot sell oil to Chad?
Well, France can say anything they want.
No, but I'm asking, the question that I'm asking, right, is who gives America the right to tell Venezuela who it can associate itself with, where it can send its oil, its own natural resources? Can anybody tell America who and what to send, where to send its oil?
No, because America is going to make its own decision.
Right. And so why, if we truly believe in democracy, as we say we do, why do we get involved in what Venezuela is doing and who Venezuela is doing it with? If we have a beef with Putin, a lot of Putin tankers that are moving oil to India and China are in the Caspian Sea. Why don't we go to the Caspian Sea and directly affect those tankers in the Caspian Sea? Why are we messing with Venezuela? And with that way starving Cuba, a lot of where some of my descendants end up. They're the ones suffering. The Cuban government isn't suffering. It's the people themselves that suffer. Why are we sanctioning that kind of behavior that actually harms people?
Well, your question to why Venezuela is because we are so close to Venezuela, in the world perspective, that we can actually, make a control of where the oil, where it's coming. They know where it's coming from. It's coming
But who
from right
gives
here.
us,
So
my brother, again, I'm saying we're talking wrong and right here, and we're talking democracy as well. Who gives us the right to be? I mean, it's Venezuela a sovereign country who owns their own resources?
they are a country that isn't owes that works very closely with Russia, and
No, that's not
so
my
they
question.
don't really control. Russia controls.
That's not my question though.
Russia
My
controls
question is
Venezuela.
not my question though. If America wants to associate with Canada in a tight relationship, can any other country prevent that from happening?
They could try,
They
especially.
could, but it won't
So
succeed, right?
they,
Now, so what I'm saying, do
they
we
could
have the
try.
right? But do we have the right? And that is always the issue, right? The issue is, do we have independent countries, or do we just go ahead and say we can do whatever we want in any country, as we have been doing through Latin America for all this time? And you see, all of that is a result. When we talk about immigration and all these things are tied in together. And we want to when we impose what we are imposing on Venezuela, it doesn't affect it affect Venezuelan people coming under the footprint of the United States. And my question to you again, my brother, is should we have, not do we, because we do we can do whatever the hell we want to do because we have the biggest military on the planet. The question is, what gives us the right to go into an independent country, tell that independent country who they can sell the oil to, who they can have relationships with? Who gives us that authority to do that?
The government of the United States takes the authority to do that. Bottom line,
And
and
do
they
you
have
agree with that? Do
Trump
you
has
agree
the
with?
military to back that up.
Do you agree that that is a humane and correct thing to do? And again, that is the issue, right? As I don't believe other countries should mess with other countries' business. I don't believe that. In fact, that's what gets you into wars, right? But if
Right.
most Americans believe, okay, well, I mean, the easiest argument to put is like, yesterday this guy even said Hezbollah was working with the Venezuelans. Hezbollah and Iran work in Venezuela. Why do you believe that? Do you have any evidence to show that? And even if that's the case, so what? Look, I am not a fan of Iran. I'm not a fan of Hezbollah or any of that. But my question is, are independent countries independent or not? And that is something we fail to. That is something we fail to come a grasp of. That's my thing. And let me tell you what I'm hearing from you, Tag, and you tell me if I'm wrong or right. You do believe that the United States should get involved in other countries' uh, private matters. Is that correct? If they're associated
To
with
some
people
degree.
you don't, if they're
To some
associated with
degree,
people,
yes.
okay, and why is that?
Well, I'm referring specifically to Russia and
No,
Putin,
but what? But I don't know why
not just
Russia
other
matters.
countries in general.
Why Russia? Why does it matter if it's Russia or some other country?
Well, because Russia has spread a lot of. You talk about the, a hardship on other people.
Uh
Russia has
huh.
made it very difficult for people around the world for a long time. You know that as well as anybody.
Let me tell you what I do
They've
know.
been
No,
very
no,
active.
no, no, no. I don't actually. Russia's influence is very limited as compared to the Americans' influence. America has 800 something bases around the world, not Russia,
Sure.
not China. The country that has the most influence around the world is the United States. The country that has effective policies in other countries or dictated policies around the other country is not Russia. Russia is small, but Russia is a small entity with nuclear bombs. That's it. Russia does. You don't see Russia in a whole bunch of countries. You don't see China in a whole bunch of countries. You don't see, that is, one of the things that I do with this show tag is try to get away from the myth of what we think is really happening in the world to what is really happening in the world. And I don't, I don't think there's anything benevolent about Russia. I don't think there's anything benevolent about China or any of that. But you know what? It's a big difference. They're not all over the world. We are. And let me ask you, the last time there was military involvement of Russia attempting to do something with some other country that you know of other than Ukraine, which is is an evil act. But tell me, what countries you see them stepping into?
Well, Ukraine is the main point. You can't take
Oh,
that away from me
no,
because
I,
that's
I'm
the
not.
one I'm pointing at.
I'm not taking that away. But let's contrast what the United States is doing and its footprint in countries around the world, and then looks at the footprint of Russia in the rest of the world. And you can do the
What,
same thing with
what Russia
China.
did in Syria was terrible.
And what did we do
Russia did in Syria was terrible.
and what did we do in Iraq?
And
And what did we do in Panama? And what did we do in
oh,
Honduras? And what did we do in Dominican Republic? And what did we do in? I mean, it is funny because let me tell you why the news media is so bad, right? Take a look at what Israel is doing in Gaza and how it's reported, right? Did in a few weeks, Israel leveled Gaza and all the
yep.
people underneath. Russia is leveling parts of Ukraine, but it still doesn't add up to what Israel did in Gaza. And look at how both of those are reported. When the United States went into Chorrillo in Panama and Colon and certain parts of Panama City, nobody talked about it being leveled or how evil it was, but we do when Russia does the same thing. What I'm saying, I'm not accusing you of anything. What I'm saying is you're speaking from whence what you hear in the news media here in the United States, but the people around the rest of the world who have the full picture can say, well, I have not seen any Russian involvement around here. I've not seen any Chinese involvement. Well, actually, I've seen Chinese involvement. It's called Belts and Road, but I haven't seen any involvement
Right.
from any other country. So my question to you again is, I think we have, or not question, my statement to you is, I think we have to be careful in our assessment of what our plutocratically driven government tells us. It's not about, we are the good people, the citizens are the good people, but what our government is doing in our name, most of us don't even know. That's all.
Right. And I agree with you 100% about what the U.S. is doing. There's no justification in a lot of instances, but except for to build empire
Right.
and
Right.
to take over resources.
There you go.
And so that's been the push.
There you go. And that's why I'm saying we have to be Tag. I got to go to Tag, but I want to say this to end. I want to say that we as citizens, we have to make sure that they're not doing these things in our name, but also we have to make sure that we try to get as informed as possible. But I love you, Tag. Let's talk tomorrow before the holidays. Let's talk
Saying,
more
Alberto,
tomorrow. Thank you, brother.
I appreciate the time you've given me. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir. It's an important subject, very important. Thank you, Tag. Let's go to Jimmy. Come on in, Jimmy.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holiday, brother.
This week, everybody needs to be have a good week. I went to Walmart this week and bought a Christmas T-shirt. It has a picture of Santa Claus on it, and it has a message. Message is, "Be jolly, my friends. Be jolly." In other words, don't be angry. Be jolly. And the T-shirt was an amazingly low price, only $6.80. So I love Walmart.
Thank you,
anyway,
Jimmy.
Anyway, on this bombing of these boats now, we've bombed about 25 of those boats from Venezuela and killed over 100 people with no evidence that they're carrying drugs. That killing ought to stop. It's cold-blooded murder. We should be stopping those boats and searching them, not bombing in them and killing people. The United States needs to stop that. And we also need to have Medicare for all, no age limit. Just have supply Medicare for everybody. Everybody needs health care, and our government needs to supply it. So that's my message for today.
Thank you very much for your message of the day, Jimmy. I'm going to start calling you our secondary Jack. 2 messages of the day. Thank you, my brother. You have a wonderful day, okay?
You too. Have a good week and happy holidays and Merry Christmas.
Happy holiday, my brother. Let's see. Let's go to Betty. Come on in, Betty, or beautiful Betty.
Hi, Alberto. Tag went right up your alley. Get him. He was not there. And on Walmart Saturday, they had a loud band there. They were jumping. And so I will wake up Christmas morning singing Jingle Bells. Despite the brain change of electronics, Trump authority, I sit outside. I can hear a pin drop. The tears roll down my cheeks. I don't even know it, because every day a baby is born, it is Christmas to me. Love, help, and give, no matter what country. What would this world be without looking at their faces? And I'll say also, take a look at yourself. Get the Christmas love bug. It never killed anybody. Take the phone out of your cauliflower hand. And what am I asking for this time is for Trump not to show his face on Christmas Day. All my love, 90.1. Merry Christmas.
Love you, girl. Love you, girl. Let me just say, my brother Tag is a darn good friend of the show, and one of the things that I love about this program is that we don't have to agree on everything, and we can inform each other, and we can have others change minds or not change minds. But if we're talking, and I want this place to be a place where everybody feels free to say what they want to say, just like I say what I want to say, and I can try my best to give my point of view and listen, sometimes learn as well. Let's go to Brother Donald. Come on in, Donald.
Okay, who is this mouse in your pocket when you start saying we? All the time it's we. When bad stuff goes wrong, it's we. It ain't we, it's them. And we need to distinguish them from us.
Let me tell you, Donald.
There's always more to the story.
Donald,
go ahead.
Let me tell you why I do that, right? That is by design. Whenever you're talking or trying to get somebody to listen, right? One of the things that you need to do is let folks know that all of us are in this stuff together, and where one falls, we all falls. Where one grow, we all grow, and that's why I love the word we. If you do bad things, Donald, and I see you do bad things, and I am not a part of trying to get you to rectify, we are doing bad things because I am complicit. It's the same thing that I do with cops, right? If there's a bad cop, we call cops bad cops, right? But then there's a good, we say most cops are good cops. There's just a few bad eggs in there. Well, if the good cops were to get rid of the bad cops, then we would have all good cops. But while there are bad cops on the fleet, that means they're all complicit in that domain. So that's where I'm coming from. That's where, and Ty called and said something that I disagreed with vehemently with regards to Venezuela, right? Because I think what we do with the United States and the power that we force on because of our power is wrong. If I just went ahead and, let's say, left that unanswered, it wouldn't, that's why it's we. That's why it's we. Come on in, brother.
Okay, it's we the sheeple is the word that we need to use. We the sheeple think that we live in a democracy and that we're free.
Yes, you're
but like
right.
I said before, they take the taxes before you ever can get out of them if you work at a corporation, You work at a corporation because they have the best insurance. You understand how this system works. We inflate 3% plus every year, but you get a cost of living raise
Yes. Yes.
forever getting ahead. And then the max pay for this position keeps going up 3%, but you're actually working for the same amount you started with if you don't know how math works.
There you go.
And
Brother.
then we're indoctrinated with the Friday night lights and the team, and we got to be on a team, and our football team's better. No, our engineering and our science is what we need to focus on.
Amen. Hey, Donald, you know.
They get injured and then they hate the rest of their life.
Hey, Donald, I got 3 people. You're so right, brother. Let's keep talking. And thank you for calling in, sir.
Yes, sir. You have a good day, and thank you very much. I'll call you back tomorrow.
Thank you, brother. All right, come on in, Bruce, real quick for me, Bruce. I'm running out of time.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Got you.
Yeah, I'm on my first cup of coffee, so I'm kind of groggy. With shows like yours and Border Radio, which I love, it's Christmas every week. I want to wish you Feliz Navidad y Próspero Año Nuevo. Everybody be safe. I'm done. Bye.
Muchas gracias, Bruce. And you did it just right with your Feliz Año Nuevo. I love that. Let's go to Johnny. Come on in, brother Johnny.
Feliz Navidad a tutti. So, Magic Jack is writing me a script. Magic Jack is sending me to Walmart after this call to get me some Pepto-Bismol to solve the big red hole in my stomach. It's not Russia, Marsha. It's not Marsha. It's not Russia, like Donald thinks. It's the United States. It's the USA. Just like you've been saying. It's that simple. We're the bad guys here. We have to make amends. That's right, we do. Why? Because it's united. We're supposed to be united. How about united on the fact that we are bad boys and we've got a lot of mending to do? It's Christmas after all. How about we show up not like the Grinch on Christmas, but like Santa Claus? And let's go from house to house. Instead of bombing and killing and stealing oil and stuff, let's just give away some stuff like Cuba likes to do. If they can be charitable to the world with their medical care and their doctors and nurses like they offered to for Hurricane Katrina victims, and George Bush capitalists said no, how about we turn around and do something nice for change and say, Feliz Navidad, everybody, and we are so sorry.
Thank you, Johnny. Have a happy holidays, and I know I'll hear from you tomorrow. All right, Bart, come on in. Is Bard there? 10, 9, 8. Okay, I guess Bard left. Let me just say, we have the professoras in the house. Jacqueline Campisi from Katy and LBW from Kingwood. Thank you guys for being here. And of course, LBW is doing her professorial work in the chat. She says, run for an open board of education seat, Don. I think he would do well on the open board. You're right about that. It's never happening. It says, geez, Egberto, education time. Could the people who are Trumpers go to therapy first? Stop using Egberto. Okay, it's never happening. We also have Karen, neurodivergent hodgepodge. Man, that's a long name to say, you know. That's a long name. Don talks about extrajudicial murders. Trump, what is that? Trump try 6-2. I don't understand that, but maybe my eyes are deceiving me. But anyway, welcome aboard as well, Harry Denson from Missouri City, Texas, and our good old Eric is in the house as well, giving me hell as usual. But that's okay. What else have we got here? All right, let's go ahead and throw it to El Estudio before we close this baby down.
Oh, I don't have anything here. Jack, you got something?
Yeah, I was reading today that Venezuelan oil tanker is sitting 50 miles off of the Galveston coast out in the bay here.
Whoa. You know, they're going, They're going to process that oil. You know, we are one of the
Well,
few. Mhm.
ExxonMobil is the one that is claiming that Venezuela has cheated them out of their oil revenues when they nationalized their oil resources.
You know, that stuff freaks me out. Whose oil is it? You see, and that's what we talk about. You know, can somebody come? Let me tell you something, folks. We are being conned. Even when we have the shale oil in Colorado and these places, it belongs to us all. But you know who profits? The oil companies and their shareholders. All of you guys get niet. At least Alaska, one of our reddest state, was smart enough to say that Alaskan oil, everybody gets a stipend at the end of the month. Do you hear the Republicans saying socialism? No, they don't. Everybody get their stipends at the end of the year. That check from the oil in Alaska. Why should Venezuela get benefit from their own oil, just like American corporations benefit of their own oil? Well, not the people, but the American corporation. Anyway, that's another long story for another time. We need to close this out, folks. We over the next year, we are going to be trying to cover a whole lot of issues where people learn not what's being told on mainstream media, but how things really are. And yes, as Brother Al Green says, it takes courage to do that. It also takes courage to listen to that. It takes courage to go against everything that we've learned for decades in order to control our mindset. Yeah, all of us have to change. Anyway, got to get out of here. Rest of the show, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Email me directly, kpft@politicsdoneright.com. kpft@politicsdoneright.com. I love you all, absolutely all of you. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.
You're listening to the American Democracy Minute, keeping your government by and for the people. A decision from a skeptical 3-judge panel is expected December 20th.